I'm glad you're ready for this one. We took a country of South Korea. I may make this into a series because I feel like we really need to talk about children and punishment when it comes to violent crimes. This case, like I said, came out of South Korea, in which a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old were arrested and convicted of the passing of their grandmother and the attempted passing of their grandfather. The 19-year-old is alleged to have stabbed his grandmother 60 times. The 17-year-old closed the window so that no one would hear her cries. People are angry outside of the fact that they did this to their grandparents who took them in when their parents divorced, was the fact that the judge said that this incident was an accident. Now, I don't know about y'all, but accidents don't just occur over and over and over again. That's intentional after the first act, right? So they're stating that they accidentally stabbed the grandmother. And the judge also said that he gave the child a book, the 19-year-old a book called The Bicycle Thief, which is a Korean short story collection that includes a story detailing a boy who tries to keep his good conscience among materialistic adults. How is that relevant for him taking the life of his grandmother? If y'all know, please comment below. But pretty much, Korea is very known to believe that there is a sense of rehabilitation for children or reformation. Now, we do kind of have the same thing in the States, but let's just be honest. There's a profit in putting kids and adults in prison. So they say it's for rehabilitation, but it's really just modern day slavery. But the issue that I'm having is that a child, that's not an accident. They're not a child anymore. That is somebody who intentionally did something and they need to pay the price. 12 years is, a form of punishment. 2.5 years for the 17-year-old. It was alleged they both planned it. I'm thinking, nah. And we really need to get into the fact that there are some children, I am so sorry to say, little Johnny is probably just born evil. I'm sorry to say it. And we have to start punishing them, especially for violent crimes. Unless you're saying there was a act being put upon them and they're protecting themselves, then we have something to talk about, because that's more of something they need some psychological help and they had no other choice. But when you're talking about the reasoning that these children gave, which was grandmother was nagging them too much, then we're going to have to really sit down and say there's some children who just have horrible coping and horrible processing. And that's it. There's a period, not a comma, not a next paragraph, nothing. They need to be institutionalized. I know that seems harsh because we want to, we are the world moment. But there are some times when you have to just beat it and say the damn door. I'm sorry to say it so harshly, but we really need to stop doing this where we're saying that children can change. When have you been that age and you were like, yep, not because I was being abused and I had no way out, but because somebody was nagging? I want to ask any of y'all, have you not been nagged by your mama even to this day? I'll wait, because I already know there's going to be very minimal amount of people that said they don't get any type of nagging from their parent. Now, I want to give you another example. See, just have some really great dialogue of, do you honestly believe there is a form of rehabilitation that can be done for a child? Or should we just lock the door and throw away the key, in essence? Now, the other case that I want to compare this to is the case of Eric Smith. Now, Eric Smith, when he was 13, around 1993, he was he was arrested and convicted for the 4-year-old Derek Roby. Now, the case is that he lured, he violated, and he took the life of this 4-year-old child. Now, you would think, what can a 13-year-old possibly do to a 4-year-old? I'm going to keep it pretty vanilla just because what he did to this poor child was demonic in nature. Not only did he smash his head with a large rock, he smashed his banana because he's triggered by bananas because of whatever trauma with the banana he just hates them, because it invokes extreme anger in him. But he also took the baby's Kool-Aid and poured the Kool-Aid into his wounds. And then he proceeded, after the demise of the baby, the child, Derek Roby, the 4-year-old. He then proceeded to have intercourse with the child, but not with his body or not with any parts of his body, but he used a stick. That's right. This child, this 13-year-old child, had the mindset to violate this child with objects. Think about that. He's actually the perpetrator. After some investigation and speaking to him, they found out that he was, in fact, the one that did it. Lack of emotion, total psychopath, total sociopath, total narcissist. Basically, throw the whole DSM-5 at this boy. He was arrested, he was convicted, and he was given life. Somehow people were like lobbying, children should never be, given life. Their brains are still developing. He needs a chance. I don't know who wants to live by it. Good luck to the people who have to live by this man, because this man already proven that back in the day, he had no chance of learning how to cope. Unless you're telling me that he had the best psychologist, rewiring his mind. I'm sorry, but there's no such thing as rehabilitation for a child that took the time to lure a child, then violate him over the fact he was triggered the child had a banana. And that he wouldn't have known about it until he took this child's life. So I really want us to examine the fact that, yes, when we're children, we make mistakes, hence the word mistake. We do engage in accidents, even as adults, and we can grow from there. However, for a child to be that diabolical at that young of age, we should actually be fearful. And I do not believe there's any psychological treatment around that's going to promise that child, now that they're older with more strength, more accessibility, will not do additional harm. But those are my thoughts. Those are my insight. Again, we're all human. We're all a part of this human race. And the only way we're going to be able to manage is to have our own insight. Comment below if you want further videos. Click right here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.